Hey everybody, this is Petey from the Spinner Rack. We also have,
Alvin Ellis
No,
ready to rock with
and
special guest.
we also have.
we also have Professor CA. What's up, y'all?
All right, so today we're talking about the fourth episode of Falcon and the
Yes.
Furious. Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So they didn't introduce too many new characters today besides some new kids, but we have a new exciting episode, a very political episode. I want to let Cal sort of lead it off. Tell us about this episode, Cal.
This episode was the fire. Yeah, it was a hot fire.
Will you just give us a quick synopsis of the episode?
Okay. Taking all the fun out of it. Anyway, so when we last left our heroes, they were still trying to get their hands on Carly. Unfortunately, they were being frustrated at all turns. They went to get Baron Zemo. Zemo has been leading them one way and the other, but finally, in this episode, they are able to lock her down. Sam decides he's going to go in, try to reason with her. He sees something in her, thinks maybe, just maybe, he can get through to her. Everybody else just wants to take her out. Unfortunately, things, through a confluence of events, Carly ends up breaking one of those laws that is almost unforgivable. Some other bad things happen as well. And we're left at the end of the episode realizing that John Walker is probably not the right choice to be Captain America.
Yeah, well, that's a tough part of the episode. But where we left off from the episode before, we ran into the Dora Milaje. Now, Professor, what do you have to say? Huh?
I was saying, forget them. They took away John from the show.
No. We want to see.
No, actually, I feel like they brought up a lot of good questions that we need the answers to. Like, one
I don't believe in
is
people.
there's a lot of deep questions that came out of that. Like, one, what is Bucky's immigration status? Like, he's talking fluent Wakandan, throwing it back with her. And then also, did he tap that? I don't know.
That's what I'm talking about. We don't need to see these chicks.
We need to see this. That's a hot. Well, all of them are the hot ones, but that's another hot one. You got to find out. You got to find out what happened.
We do not.
And is Bucky black now? If he's a Wakandan citizen, he's African. Like, if he's a Wakandan citizen, I want because he was there for over 2 years, so more than enough time to immigrate. So he could be a Wakandan citizen.
I don't know, man. Now you're trying to say that he left the black woman for the Asian woman. That sort of stereotype. That's what you're saying they're going for? That he couldn't handle the black woman.
I can see that. I can see that with these spear-wielding chicks. But that being said, they don't really need to. When we saw them last time, I was actually interested. But then here, they're just good for a fight scene at the end of the day. And they like a minimal plot device. But I see why everybody wants to see them. You gotta get your kicks. So okay, you got your kicks.
She did free him from slavery.
Huh?
She did free him from slavery.
She freed him from slavery.
Yep.
He's free now.
I don't know how far I can go with this. I don't think I can go anywhere with this at all. Bucky's black, freedom from slavery.
Well, I would also add in there that if they only go after him when he's not captured or he's off U.S. soil, where you're just like, all right, he's somewhere else, and now we can get him. Which is, I guess they're trying to respect the laws. I guess they can go for that. But the later scene was tougher for me because they're like, when it comes to kicking ass, we just concentrate on kicking ass. We don't care about Zemo, which is why you're there. It's like, I'm going to show you, and that's more a scene to show you that John Walker isn't up to snuff against these warrior women, but it don't matter. You can lose a fight. Heroes lose a fight all the time. Now he's like, yo, I lost that fight. I got to shoot up. I got to tie the arm up, put the drugs in, and they're kind of trying to skate around the drug part for our Kylie, that chick. I am so tired of this chick. And she has a great face. She's a decent actress, but her plight, I am totally not with her plight. She just getting on my nerves, her talking about what happened. We know that this is the thing set up because of the blip and all this, so she can have this stripe, and her mom is in trouble. But at the same time, she's just full on terrorist. It's she regretfully we got to go into the spoilers here because we're here. She did some terrible things. Even though if you have a sad face after you do it, like what does that mean? That you're still like you're just nasty and you don't have no kind of name. So well, this shows that she's not Captain America. No, we already knew that. We already knew she wasn't Captain America. She's out there just like I'm just slicing and dicing, kicking people in the chest and slumping them over and leaving them for dead. And then I'm going to start running. That's not like you're becoming what. That's the thing. But then does John Walker have to become what he doesn't want to become? Because he seemed like a hero. He might have had some sort of edge to him, but ultimately he's been a hero in this thing. And he's not the one from the comic book. So him going off, and then I don't know. I want to let somebody else chime in because I got a couple other things to say, and I don't want to just monopolize the time.
Got you, Cal.
You want to say some more of your race baiting stuff? Or...
No, I was gonna segue from the race baiting. Now I'm gonna get a little bit more like serious. I know PD
he's
does not like
down. That's not race baiting. That's saying that Bucky is down. That's
Bucky is certified.
That's what he's saying.
Bucky gets to come to the barbecue. Bucky gets to come to the barbecue. It's official.
Oh my Lord!
If he can perfect potato salad, then he's like all the way in.
All right, I'm out. I'm out.
No Stacey Dash. Wait a second. I'm questionable on Stacey Dash. We got to figure that out. Did I say that live? Yes, I did. We got to figure out Stacey Dash. Bucky's already in the barbecue. Okay.
Yeah, still got to figure out. Yeah, we got to do a new what did Dave Chappelle do? The race.
Yeah.
But to be a little bit more serious.
Is invited.
Stacey Dash is invited to very specific places at very specific times. At least as it concerns me, but that's that's beyond the point. Getting back to this though, I know PD you don't like gray characters, and it's a bunch of gray characters in this, like all over the place. Like, is she? Because right now Sam has her up for contention for Captain America. He's like, look, I think I could work with her. I think I could figure some stuff out.
Because Sam's a dumbass.
You think he's a dumbass? He's supposed to be Captain America. I thought he was the man.
Sam is still refusing the call. He sees Captain America and everybody else except himself. She could be Captain America. This guy could be Captain America. You could be Captain America. Everybody except for him. And he's the only person who Captain America said, you're the guy. And he's running around here doing everything except embracing and accepting the fact that he's the guy.
Do you think, putting it like that, do you think he's kind of like, I love scenes now that you kind of know that that's the premise, his growth into that. Have you seen any examples of Captain Americaism from Sam in this episode? I would say there's a lot.
He's too busy running away from it.
His speeches, they're clearly the way he's talking, the way he's trying to be like they're trying to show him as a leader and all this other stuff, and it's just like, I really would like to get to, the Falcon from the comic. This is very, very different character, but I see it definitely in the kind of speeches in this episode. That's what kind of was dreary for me, was like everyone was giving a speech. Kylie was giving a speech. Falcon was definitely trying to bring. Then it's like, all right, I'm talking to you, right? And I would say, most of the time, if I don't know if Cal has met my great grandmother, but I would say my great grandmother. And people know I would say Yaya. I would say that, but I wouldn't say my Titi to people who ain't met her. They don't know them. It's like we're gonna talk about stuff people don't know about. To Zemo.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. And you got to be very careful because the emphasis can really turn that a certain way, which Zemo actually did. He was having a lot of fun with Sam in that episode. A lot of little subliminal digs. Yeah, for sure. So what do you guys think about the whole supremacy serum kind of theory of Zemo's in terms of anybody?
Oh my God.
Bro, it's laid out. It's laid out right there. He brought it up. He's like, if you do anything to become superhuman. You're gonna be you are on the path to become a supremacist. Zemo is an anti-racist ally, yo. What's going on? What is he though? I don't know.
The dude, what do you mean? The dude killed T'Chaka to, to make a point.
But not because he
You
was
forget
black.
this?
But it had nothing to do with him being black.
He comes over and he says some cool stuff about, oh yeah, did you hear Marvin Gaye's album? It's the black experience in a succinct manner, and everybody's so shocked, okay, that Zemo, aka the white man, would actually be able to even enjoy something like that. And then Sam co-signs, he's like, hey, he's stepping over the bounds, but he's right, it is this, that, and all of a sudden what? He gets to come to the barbecue too?
No,
I don't know. Does he get to?
No, the dancing. You saw him dancing. You don't get
the
to
dancing check.
No, the dancing was not the move.
No, he's been doing everything. I've seen him do everything in these last 2 episodes, and people eating it up. What did he tell Sam? Sam's like, I feel like a pimp in this. He's like, only in America would you, a stylishly dressed black man, be looked at as a pimp. And I can hear these guys like, Zemo's got it, and Killmonger was right.
But all he is, what's the name? I'm sorry. All he is Jason Statham, like the villain, being the good guy now, like the Fast and Furious movies. It's just like I can't. That kind of, and then the way he slips. When they have the action happening, right? They're going after the serum. They're going after Kylie and all that. They're jumping around, and Zemo gets to be right at the place he needs to be, so he can smash up all those vials. It's like
Except one vial.
Well, you knew that was gonna happen. As soon as you started panning, you're like, okay.
Oh God.
No, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if Zemo was going to take them, because I know some other stuff is coming down the pipe. So I didn't know if Zemo was going to be a hypocrite and say, I'm going to cop some of this for myself. Maybe I'll make my own. Okay. Or if he was going to, or if he was actually going to smash. And then does he get rid of all? Does he get rid of all of them? So that had to happen at the end of the day. I had to see that, okay, something was actually left. Then I'm like, okay, so we see how the route's going to go with John Walker. I mean, in the comics, John Walker was, he already had the super soldier serum, and he was a super patriot. But those characters that were created were like wrestling characters, if you will. These were guys who were like, okay, they were like made heroes. They had publicity agents, managers, that sort of stuff in the comics. And when he gets the call to be Captain America, he's like, yeah, great. But even from day one in the comic, you can already see this dude putting a whole bunch of pressure on himself, because he's like, how did this guy do this? He's like, I got the super soldier serum and everything like this guy does, but how did he throw the shield like that? And how did he get this stuff done? So even from there, he's trying to live up to that standard. And, he obviously he wasn't able to do it. He actually goes over the line because he doesn't have he's not Steve Rogers, okay, let alone Captain America. We get to here and they're playing on some of the same stuff. Maybe, I don't know, maybe better, maybe not as well, depending on where where you stand. The fight with the Dora Milaje, I was like, okay, I thought that was a cheat shot at the fact that he wasn't really able to manage him, that he wasn't able to manage himself, him or Bucky for that matter, were not able to manage themselves against the Dora Milaje. I'm like, okay, these are top level fighters at the end of the day, but they pretty much got owned throughout the entire fight. But that was just so you could have that scene where he's like, look, what are we doing here? We can't even fight these guys. They don't even have the super soldier serum at the end of the day. And I'm like, well, you do have this shield, man. Cap would have been able to, at the very least, do some simple stuff with, with the shield, maybe just in terms of distraction, and then physical strength. You should have been able to do it. But he needed to be pushed to that. He needed to be pushed to that point where he's got to actually take the serum. And the whole idea was his feelings of inadequacy in the field, or at least in terms of being ineffective. And then the serum was going to make up the difference for that. However, those are exactly the reasons why he shouldn't be taking it at the end of the day. Okay, this is a guy who decided he was going to do it. He was going to get into it. He's definitely, without a doubt, from what we saw earlier, he's supposed to be like, top, definitely, without a doubt, he's a top level soldier, fighter, athlete in terms of certain things coming on. So he should be somebody who should be coming into this role and maybe a little stumbling a little bit at first, but we should see some success on his part. Nothing. And that's all been to get us to the point where he feels that he needs to take that serum in order so he can do the job Captain America would do. And what does he do? As soon as he gets the serum, kill somebody.
Well, okay, let's take a step back for a second because you brought up a lot of good points. So, do you think his insecurity? I think it sounds like you're saying you don't think his insecurity is valid, and that he could have done more, or at least not feel sorry for himself. But didn't for me kind of brought up the question of like, yeah, what qualifies you to get into altercations with get into these situations of superhero heroism when you don't have like is he qualified like he, he's going to be as people like I feel like you have to be a superhero you either have to have hyper specialized skill or tech to kind of cut that balance. So what was the whole point of him doing any of this and his boy Battlestar going messing around with superhumans, super soldiers, or highly skilled and trained warriors with tech? Yeah, he's an army soldier, but like they don't really go into his background of martial arts and fighting. He sounds pretty. Him and Battlestar are pretty standard.
Yeah.
I mean, Battlestar just had a knife. Like what's going and had his little like
Okay.
vest on. Like what did they? You know what I mean?
I would add to what you're saying is that he should be, if you to use a basketball player, he should be Dwayne Wade when we didn't know who he was, right? When Dwayne Wade was semi-rookie year two or year one or two, and he was in the playoffs and he was good. And that's what I thought we got when they were fighting on top of the truck or the bus. Where it's like, oh, he has some skills, he already knows how to use the shield, but he doesn't have that extra thing to fight. And then fighting against these people with more skills, he didn't do what Cal is saying, use some of the other techniques, because that's how Cat would survive fighting people that are much stronger. He'll use the speed, he'll evade, he will use more defense and allow you to hit into things and not actually, hurt himself trying to punch. Like, and then use the shield to be the actual punch. The Captain America shield is a lot different than the comic book, because really, even in the movie Winter Soldier, when I saw him get hit with the bazooka and then Cap fly like a mile out, I was like, wait a second, Shield's supposed to be taking care of this stuff, but it's kind of tough for me seeing that. But it's they want to give it a little bit more realism to it, so they took that aspect out of it, even though it's vibranium. But I hear that part. I think if he's the new Cap, he should be allowing himself to try to prove himself to be like the rookie basketball player saying, they picked me because I was or like the Jordan as a rookie, I just want to play. I just want to play. And that sort of thing. And then you overextend yourself to be that good. And then either you fail or you become like one of the NBA players that don't make it. But you got to get time. They're trying to do it in these 6 episodes like they don't got any time. They're like, nope, you fail once, get beat up by a girl, take that serum in like 2 seconds. It's like, come on.
What is that scene was so bad. She comes over, she beats him down, and then she's getting ready to walk off with the shield.
Yeah.
We didn't know. We didn't know that hottie. I mean, that dorm. We didn't know who that
ready to
was.
walk off with the shield. If the other one, what is it? If Okoye didn't tell her, hey, leave the shield, she probably would have took it. She was like, hey, this is mine now. You lost.
One in battle. She cut to the floor immediately in the arm. It's like only Cap can do that. I guess she can do it too.
Yeah, all she had to do, she stepped and she's like, oh, this is easy. You want to show me? I'll show you how to do it. There you go. No problem. Just like riding a skateboard. But, and they do it counter to the way normally it's done. Normally the guy comes out and he starts and he has some success. And then he meets something like, oh, okay, this is, then he would meet like a villain or somebody like, okay, this guy, this person or this situation is more than I've encountered before. Not successful. And then they usually, okay, I gotta like dig down a little bit deeper, come back and do it. Here, it was just like, okay, we're gonna fail some more, fail again, fail one more time, see somebody getting ready to walk off with the shield, getting somebody walk off with the shield. That for me was like, okay, I see where they're going with this. Because it was like, what do you say? They weren't even super soldiers. I was like, yeah, they weren't even super soldiers. And she was getting ready to walk off with the shield. Okay?
She was gonna leave.
I was just
put
like,
it on her wall.
I was like, okay. I was like, man. And so the whole idea of like, he's just sitting there like, man, we're totally ineffectual. And then of course he gets, you see the serum. What do? He has that brief conversation with Battlestar. This is the second time I've seen that actor in the series enjoy what he was doing, and he ends up dead. It's the second time.
Oh, like now, don't get me started on that. Like my man Lamar, like he played like it's so interesting that for something that's so kind of like forward thinking that I didn't think I would see that trope come back in Like this dude is like basically John's Jiminy Cricket and like wise black dude.
Oh
He's
man.
a
I
black
was just
best friend. You didn't know that?
the black best friend trope. Yeah, it was so
Lord.
lame. I'm like, wow. And then like, John Walker actually kind of like embodies the trope and is like fully like in it, like he's meta on it. He's like, how you gonna let him do that? Like talking to Bucky about Sam. I was like, I like how there's that little slick stuff come in that you can kind of interpret however you choose to. But I was just like, and he says, which was interesting, I'm not his partner, or he's not my partner. And that I don't know what you guys thought of that. I took it like he was saying, no, I'm following his lead. Like that's the way I took that. But it was very, yeah, it was very. I was like,
That
Lamar
was
got done dirty though. I was like, damn, Lamar.
yes, that's where, and that's what when you were saying to me disliking sort of great characters. I don't also my kind of issues is how the audience takes this, because I was okay with John Walker. I think they would. I mean, maximizing it because they only have 6 episodes. I'm not cool with that. I see them trying to, so the audience knows, okay, black friend died. Now he's going out and killing, doing it public. But the audience is gonna look at Kylie and be like, well, she kicked him and it was a mistake. And she's trying to do this with her family and her mother and all that died. And like, no, no. But even though they made it less, it's like, oh, 3 dead, 11 injured in that. No, we saw everybody dead. Nobody's alive in that building that she blew up. So it's like they lessen what she did. They're gonna when we get to the next episode, and I gotta see what the public looks at it and see what this character, because these characters are like, like the Sandman or Rogue, where they're these guys that are killers, but then the audience gives, it says like, oh, okay, I like this person. This girl's cute.
Mm-hmm.
She just had a hard life and all that other dumb stuff, and that's what I'm worried about. Where they don't look like, no, I don't care what she did. She used those terrorist tactics and that's
Mm-hmm.
it. She need to be, they need to. And Captain America shouldn't be worried about trying to get her. Say, all right, I can take back Zemo and and clear that, but then I'll be the hero here. Then come back here and deal with this girl. He's still using that Falcon tech, so they can find him again. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
so
Yeah,
what else
yo,
you got?
like, right.
Listen, what else you got? I know you got something else. What else you got, Professor?
More racial analysis, Professor?
Well, yeah, some of it I couldn't avoid. It was kind of, but I think we could
But
like, dig into the
you
show.
do realize Sam Wilson is the black best friend, right?
Yes, yeah, but now he's transitioning. He's upgrading. This whole series is about his upgrade right now.
Are you saying he's moving on up?
Oh,
That was
I
good. That's stuff.
Fish
Well, how
don't
about this?
fry in the kitchen.
What's he gonna do about the shield? Because who wants the shield now? It's got blood all over it.
Sam.
they repaint it all the time. They
Oh,
always
come
repaint
on.
it.
Sam, that's who's supposed to have the, not you, Sam. Sam's supposed to have the shield. Okay? That's the reason why this whole mess isn't, oh, good grief. I mean, there's been other stories like this when the hero refuses the call,
Mm-hmm.
and they tend to be modern stories. But it's pretty much this guy decides. I mean, we've seen it. The classic story is what happened. The hero decides, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to retire. Let somebody else do it. And then the other person tries to fill in, and it all goes to hell. It all goes to hell. Why? Because you decided you didn't want to do this anymore for no reason other than you didn't want to do it. There was no legitimate reason. You didn't want to do it. So let's see. If we had Sam, okay, decide to, I mean, look, let's just say he decided he was going to keep the shield. You can still be the Falcon, just keep the shield, what have you. At
Yeah,
the very least,
I'll be okay with that. I would be
you
okay
would have had
with
that lineage, okay? You would have had some lineage, okay, Avenger, this, that, and the other, and you can go out and do so on and so forth. No, I don't even want the shield itself. I'm going to give this to you. So now you gave it to the wrong people. The wrong people chose the wrong guy. The wrong guy, okay, now has blood on with the shield. All why? Why? Because you didn't want to do what only you could do. So that's where we're at this point. All you got to do is just come back. But usually the hero just has to come back and realize, look, I got to do this. I got to be Captain America. That's it.
Yeah, that's a good point because how come he's concerned about legacy in regards to his family house or the boat rather, family business, and not concerned about legacy in regards to somebody holding up and not putting the shield in mothballs. So I think that's a very good point. I'm also interested to know, like, this is kind of me being picky about the kind of the plotting. Like, why is it that they're even having this whole conversation about being Captain America, where the original Captain America, Steve Rogers, when he was fully realized, he was done with the government. So I don't understand why this is even. Obviously, we need it for the plot to do a certain thing to kind of bring up all
Mhm.
these other plot lines and thoughts. But kind of it doesn't really make sense to me because Steve Rogers that was something. Okay, just let me step back a second. Like knowing that when they were going to do Captain America in the original Avengers movies, my question is like, oh wow, how are they going to play this? Like, how are they going to work around this? Because like the whole kind of trope of like representing like American propaganda or whatever. How's that balance gonna go? They kind of played that out in his first movie, the first Avenger, um, but then ultimately his character story arc moved really far away from that. We just like, look, I'm kind of like not down with government. I'm not. He's at some point he stopped that. He was almost more looking like Carly than anything else. He was on his own. He was
Mhm.
rogue, and he was just doing and he was just righting any wrongs he saw and kind of just rode that flow. So why? So is it a step back for us to be having this conversation about who should be a government puppet? So where is the line that Sam's going to strike? Like away from that or like closer toward that? What do you guys think about that?
I I would say that that's the hard thing. If he's got to talk about everything and sound like Captain America, and every time he goes somewhere, someone's been excommunicated like Sharon, he got to talk to about I'm going to work it out. You don't got no power to work anything out unless this is successful. Then
Right.
they'll be like But that's like, even in like with the Star Trek the Voyage Home, like
Mm-hmm.
Captain Kirk had to pay for his crimes. They got crimes on their hand. They pulled out. They've got Zemo out. He's party to that. And then there's the death of this person. And that's the thing.
Yep.
It's not clearly I mean they can say this person battled. This was almost retribution, which we don't condone revenge, but I don't know how it would play on television, but TV doesn't really play that well. So this leading us this to having you know John Walker to be like a bad guy or a government op that does all these dark things or become just a villain altogether. So yeah, I mean I think when you were talking about the speed, like him talking, just kind of slows things down. And where Cap wasn't, and at least in the movies, he wasn't. In the Avengers first movie, he kind of proves himself to the public, and they're like saying, "Oh yeah, we can." When the Avengers really didn't have that sort of trust issue, but they were like, "Hey, we got a trust issue." And then next thing you know, it's I guess the other one, the other movie, they're kind of not interacting with the public, so it's no sort of public sort of thing going on for them. So yeah, it is really like what you say, where you don't really get to see the audience, and the audience don't. I mean, the public in the movie don't get a chance to have Captain America, know that he died because it's on this. The complex is all a mess, so it's not like the public. It's something they probably told everyone that Cap died in battle, and just be like, this one of our favorite soldiers was lost in the war, and it would be kind of like getting like a family getting a letter back about it. It wasn't something someone publicly saw, so it wouldn't be like we're missing that voice when what we don't know what he did outside of those cheesy videos he did for the schools where he had the bad costume on and that sort of thing. So yeah, that's a strong point, and that's why I wouldn't want Falcon, even if they push him to become Captain America, to be going around saying speeches every single time. Like there's one Avengers issue where Cap is he's kind of doing it in speech mode, but then Spider-Man is in the team for a little while, and he's like, there's sort of this camaraderie and this joking matter where even Thor was doing even a bad joke, and Cap noticed this, and he's like, hey, he said, I'd like to ask you to join the Avengers. He said, I know you've gotten, you've had some things have gone wrong the other times, but I think your levity is kind of does wonders even more than any of my speeches ever could. And I was like, from
Mm.
Cap, that's because usually they lead towards the speeches, and then Cap
Yep.
having a moment saying, criticizing himself is like, wow, that's powerful for him. But that sort of thing to not play to Cap having to say these speeches where the Kirby Captain America, he just be on the phone and say, the nation stands. Goodbye, and that's it.
That's it.
So
Yeah. The only kind of feedback I have, or kind of like reflection based off of what you said, was I feel like that moment that Sam told Sharon, "Yo, I got you. I'm gonna figure this out for you," knowing that he had nothing per se. For me, that was him stepping up to the call. For
mhm.
me, that was like, okay, there he goes. He's showing his little captain stuff. This is a wrong, and I'm gonna right it. So what I'm really looking forward to is all the stuff that they're foreshadowing. Like he told his sister, "We gonna solve this problem. I gotta get Sharon. I gotta get Sharon back.
That's the one.
Hey, I gotta get Sharon back into the U.S. because she got effed over. My bad. I'm gonna hold that. I'm gonna get Zemo back. I'm gonna coach up. I'm gonna level up Carly. These are all the things he has to kind of. This is his checklist. This is his coming, answering the call checklist in kind of regards to what Cal was saying. Like, so it's all these things I'm looking forward to. I love the speeches. I love the kind of like I love that action for me was looking like this conversation he's going to have with Carly when he meets with her and how he's trying to like win her over. And I love that they have a little rapport now to the point that even though Walker blew it, she's still like, I shouldn't mess with this dude, but I still like him. I still trust him. She starts hanging out with his sister on FaceTime to kind of build or get to know sis real quick. Now,
Hang
should I
out with
kill
her.
your brother?
She didn't
Cool,
hang out
but
with her.
not.
She threatened her.
It's a,
Look, what?
a joke.
I don't know. This is narrative. I don't know. I don't like when these narratives start to go because the media at the end of the day. Walker didn't blow it. Walker actually did what was right because Falcon was in there on his own. Okay, with this
Hmm.
person who killed people. Okay, and the argument that he was making was just as sound as the one. It was just
Yeah.
as sound as the one that the Falcon was making. You
Yeah.
got time to talk to her. But if he ends up, if he ends up dead, everybody's going to be like, oh, well, we should have backed him up. So on and so. So, you had two competing things, both of them legitimate. They're going to run ahead
Hmm.
at the end of the day. Carly,
Right.
okay, in that moment right over there was like, oh, I can't trust you. Like, well, wait a second. I'm over here talking with you and so on and so forth. There was at no point where she was like, no, no, no. Let's try to, let me come over here and try to do that. Okay. So she just reverts the type. In terms of like, I hope what we're not saying is that Sam, if he was to become Captain America, we want to see him do all this good stuff, but we don't want to see him say anything positive about the United States, because if he does, then he's a puppet. Is that what we're
Mm.
saying?
That what we're saying? I
That's not what
thought we were
I'm saying.
saying that spending every episode doing the speech every episode
I
is
don't even remember. I don't even remember Steve Rogers making all these speeches, from Captain America on. I mean, the whole idea of Steve Rogers worked for the government up until we saw him in Avengers. At the end of the day, he starts off, he's trying to be a soldier. Okay, he gets selected for the super soldier program, and then they don't know what to do with him. They literally have him over here, working with the Ziegfeld Follies, if you will. He finally takes the initiative when he sees that he could do something because Bucky's in trouble. So he's the one who finally decides his own fate. They don't come over, well, here, we're going to give you this suit and everything of this nature and the shield.
Hmm.
No, he's like, look, I'm going to go help Bucky because I'm not doing anything here. And I think I can make a difference at the end of the day. So Rogers,
Yeah.
what I've always respected about Cap works for the government. Okay. But Cap makes his own call. And if he thinks, no, okay, I'm not going to do this, I'm not cool with it, he won't do that. And if that means that they're going to say, well, you can't be Cap anymore, he's like, okay, I won't be Cap anymore. But he has no problem, coming over and working with the government. His moral compass is that, look, I'm going to do what I know to be right in the situation. I'm going to come over here and work. Now, I know the blanket thing will be, well, if you work for the government, you must be a puppet. But nobody's ever going to call Captain America a puppet, and he did work for the government.
well, I don't know that we were saying that he was a puppet. We were saying that Cap didn't, he basically in the first movie, he said, he was just like he took action and he got the spoils for all the great stuff he did. And then in the other movie, in the Avengers, his speech was suit up and then a couple of leadership things and then to go to action. It was more the people saying stuff, them trying to
Right.
hammer home to us that, and it, I think for the audience, I mean, it might be working. I'm just saying for me, it's just a little much, especially
Hmm.
this episode, because they were both trying to have these conflicting ideals between Kylie and the Falcon being like, I'm going to bring, it's like his scorecard is like, he's got some debts to pay, man. He's behind the eight ball. And Kylie, that, and like saying where obviously in the two episodes, they might be able to figure it out where everyone gets cleared. and
Mhm.
they don't have him on it. But it's a lot to clear. It's like he gonna just go around town and be like, and Cap. Well, they say Cap passed. If he was still around, he'd be like, "Yo, man, don't be telling them all that. Just you
Mhm.
do what you can." at some
Yeah.
points, at some point, you can't do all that. You can't save everybody. You know.
Right. Yeah. And just to be clear, like I wasn't. Yeah. I don't know if I was maybe unclear about that. I was really kind of agreeing with you, Cal, by saying that like, why are we retreading this whole conversation about um being the, for lack of a better word, for being the country's mascot, where Captain America already um solved that kind of part of it already. He started off as a puppet, and then he was like, no, I'm done with this and being forced to do these speeches. I'm going to do what I came here to do. I got this serum. I'm going to go help people, which, as you said, was sparked by helping Bucky. And ever since then, he's been his own man. He's always like, how can I serve people? So he thought the best way to serve was to go into the army. That's why that was his goal, to go in and do something righteous and help people. But as soon as they gave him the serum, like you said, they didn't know what to do with him. So they relegated him to a puppet. He just happened to work out that he happened to be a genuine hero born person. So he elevated what they were trying to do with him to the point, yeah, he was Captain America, larger than life, and a real deal hero. They lucked out with that part, and and he blew up on his own after that, and had gained whatever respect came from what he was doing, and he stayed aligned with the government through Shield until he was done with that, and now he just picks it. He picks his own battles, and it's kind of like, if he's doing this, why do we have to have this conversation about Falcon doing it? So what I'm anticipating happening is he's gonna find some way to kind of like hold on to the Shield, establish the legacy, and call his own shots as well. Yeah,
Well, in my mind, since seeing that early trailer with showing him throw the shield, um, it feels like they're gonna figure a way to give him that damn super soldier serum, and I am not with that at all. I'm even less with him having taking the outfit. But then if they give him the super soldier serum, that's just gonna kill it for me. Because it's like there's moments. There's not that many big moments in the Falcons comic book time, but there are some, like I think toward later in the, I mean, obviously they're in Englehart running, and in the early ones where you could see Cap really, wanting to become friends with the Falcon, and the Falcon was on the edge of, going very militant, or because his girlfriend was militant, and he liked Cap, but it was like kind of, it was iffy early on, and then they became very close, and then you see as the comic went on, he's still a definite part, a strong part of not just sort of a sidekick, because he had a strong storyline in Cap's story. But then like when you see him here, it's like, well, we gotta do the thing where we give him some power. We can't have him with no power. We're like, what kind of superhero is that? You just got the suit. Someone takes that suit. Anyone can put that suit on. So it's some things that I wouldn't want them to do, but obviously it looks like they're pushing for it. So who knows what's going to happen. So does anyone have any other things they want to bring up here?
I don't see Sam getting the super soldier serum. I think that defeats the purpose. I wouldn't be in line with that either. However, you can't spend 4 episodes with these guys barely hanging on.
That's the
You
thing.
know, you can't, like, oh, we're barely hanging on against these guys with the super soldier serum. Well, I'm not, Cap had the super soldier serum, was contending with people like Thanos at the end of the day.
yep,
And then
yep,
these guys are fighting over here, and they're like, well, we're going to get beat up. We're going to get our asses handed to ourselves for the most part. We're supposed to have, experience is supposed to matter. You got Buck, rather a Winter Soldier. He's got the serum, and for whatever reason, like, oh no, we just can't get in equilibrium. At the end of the day, so you can't keep showing that, because that countermands your idea that that serum isn't really needed, because you're showing on a regular basis. Well, maybe we do need it at the end of the day. But
Mhm.
mhm,
I thought the reason why as much as I hate to see it, they're gonna have to do all this because Sam Wilson is black. And because of that, brings in a lot of the political stuff that I would rather just stay away from. But they're
yeah,
gonna have to go do the whole dance with it, because if not, it was never addressed. And then you sidestepped it and you didn't want to
mhm,
talk about it and blah this and blah that. So we got to remind ourselves that Sam Wilson is black and black experience and so on and so forth. Then after we do it, it'll never come up again. It'll never come up again at the end of the day, but we'll do it now. So at the very least, everybody can get what they want, and then we can move on.
How do you think? How do you think he's going to get the shield? Do you at this point?
They're going to give it to him.
Walker's going to give it to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll either just be like the first scene you see is just Bucky and Sam with the shield. Like, did not even go to explain it because it's like, yeah, he just messed up that badly. But they kind of have a lot of setup around the fact that they remind us that he is a trauma counselor / Avenger. So I'm kind of anticipating that there's going to be some kind of conversation where Sam's going to help him walk through, at least initially, his PTSD. And then probably that'll be when he gives it to him, like you're saying.
You think so?
I feel like it's all kind of set up in that way. Like we've already officially had a fight scene of somebody taking the shield from him, and Bucky originally had said, "Yo, maybe let's just roll up on this dude and take that shield. Let's like Brooklyn style. Let's just take the shield, son." But so we've already seen that. Flatbush, you know what I'm saying? You just gotta come on now, like Snyder Tilden shit, bro. Like, sorry, excuse my language, my bad. Edit that.
That's all right. No, that's all right. You said Tilden, that okays the curse word, so keep going.
It's certified. So I'm anticipating that we are going to get that scene where he gets to be that counselor, and I think that was really smart. I think that's what they've been doing with the Disney Plus specials, is that these side shows are supposed to give us all the background stuff that you're never going to see in the major movies with the characters. So yes, it's going to be a lot of talk about Sam being black, and yes, we are going to get to see small things like Bucky getting deprogrammed and getting the digits from Io. There's a lot of things that just we're going to kind of get as we go along. So I'm anticipating him kind of like bringing that to light. Yeah, I just want to get to it. I just want to, like, when he finally, we have 2 episodes left. When is he going to like accept that he's Captain America?
In episode 6.
Oh God, I'm gonna be.
I don't see. No, I just don't see Walker giving up that shield without a fight. So I just see him ducking. He's going to duke it out with Sam. Okay. But then in the fight, he's going to realize, hey, I got the super soldier serum and this guy's still better than me.
Man, I don't know. Sam's been getting his behind beat by those super soldiers already. It's gonna be hard for him to be, unless he uses Walker, the Falcon outfit, he uses those Falcon skills to beat Walker. And
that's what's gonna have to happen, because they already set Walker up he's gonna be a loser from start to finish. Yeah. And then after this series is over, he can go on and do some stuff. But you know, he's the guy getting jobs.
I liked him better when he was called Nuke.
Oh God.
He played Nuke?
No, I'm saying I liked it better when we called him Nuke. You know what I mean? Like that was throwing shade, basically. Like this story was done better with Nuke, to be honest. But they also had 13 episodes, so to kind of draw that out, give them a lot of background on it.
Yeah, if they followed the comic line. The comic line was that the John Walker in the comic already had super soldier serum, and he didn't lack for confidence or anything, but he couldn't handle the pressure. He couldn't handle the pressure of being Captain America. Okay, he needed to be some guy who could be rough around the edges, make mistakes, but that's just who he was. He wasn't Steve Rogers. And in the comic, the other problem that you have is that Steve Rogers had been Captain America for so long. Okay, this is a guy who was Captain America back in World War II, that a lot of people believe was still Captain America when they had this other guy filling in, at the end of the day. But when he comes back, he's still been on the scene for such a long period of time that, his temperament, his decision-making, all of that stuff, tended to be, that's Captain America at the end of the day. We trust Captain America to get this right. He's not going to rip somebody's head off, or lose it at the end of the day. So Walker tried to fill into that, and he was like, I can't do this. Walker was the guy who needed to be his own man. He was like, I can't do this. And then the government comes back, and they're like, hey, Cap, will you come back? Will you come back? He said, yeah, sure. I'm good. No problem.
Well, I'm going to go on the fact that I know for the audience, it's like, oh, here's John Walker killing somebody. And it's just like, all right, we're gonna take a comic book scene, a classic comic book scene where Cap kills Baron Blood, a vampire, and he's like, I gotta take out this vampire. The sun's coming up, but this guy's still fighting. He pulls his shield up to the air, and then he chops off the vampire's head. But the tension in it is that Cap is still iffy on this, like the killing part. He's just like, but I gotta do this. He kills him, and then he goes off and he's just out of it. But he had to do this. They lose what's it, Lord Farnsworth, who's was in the Union Jack and whatnot. It was a really tough storyline, but then they took it and they switched it to have this guy where just like, but they got the visual in there. I was like, that's a cool visual.
Oh,
Let's
man.
take that. Let's steal that for this thing.
That visual was amazing. That visual was amazing. At first, I thought it was a callback to Civil War, where Cap had that choice. Was he was so angry. Was he really gonna? He just kind of made sure he hit the device on Iron Man's chest. And I thought the shot was that was a beautiful shot because they shoot it from below, and they did it in a way that they made him. He looked like the skinny version of Cap. He just looked like, it was like showing all of his inner turmoil. All of his insecurities showed, and manicness showed in that shot. It was like, wow, that was a really good shot.
So I guess we've covered as much as we can on this episode, and we're waiting for another episode. We only got 2 left. I can't say they're gonna have to ramp it up because they did a lot of talking in this one, but I guess they got to ramp it up.
They got to. Yeah.
I'm sorry they killed Lamar, but especially since I was selling his books, they were selling. Now I don't know what's going to happen to the sales now. But who knows? Maybe he'll come back.
So,
are there anything that you guys are looking forward to, or questions you want answered in these last 2 episodes?
I'm looking forward to Sam stop being a dumbass. I'm really looking forward to that.
I'm looking forward to them not doing what I expected them to do, him becoming Captain America. And I'm hoping they don't add any more characters. Unless it's a Red Skull. Unless they find out if Red Skull or Armin Zola still around, that's all I would be looking for. No other new characters.
Yeah, we don't need any new characters. And at this point, like, Sharon is the power broker. So, like, I don't care about that. And I also don't care if he gets into the...
We still don't know who the power broker is.
Yes, we do.
Who's it?
He just...
Sharon.
No, it can't be Sharon. You got to introduce a new character.
No, bro. Yo, mark my word. Episode 6, the last 10 minutes. No, it'll be. I don't think it'll even be in the episode. It'll be in the after credits or the mid credits, and you'll see Sharon talking about, yeah, hey, General Ross, yeah, it's me, the power broker, aka Sharon Carter.
Is her voice going to be that deep?
Yeah,
it will be for that.
You're like, hello.
Yeah, just the voice box. Exactly. Thank you, Pete. Exactly.
As much as I would love to agree, I just don't see any reason for her to be the power broker.
A twist.
Something to do.
Yep, that's it.
Where's she getting the money to do this?
Some painting.
Art. Yeah.
Yeah, she got a ton of money in that place she's at. She got the real deals, not the stuff that's in the museums.
Yep.
So, closes out. Spinner rack.
Out.
Out.